Everyone. Myself, Anup Singh, working as an assistant professor in aeronautical department from Parul University, PIT. So today we have a webinar organized by aeronautical department in PIT, Parul University. Title of webinar is Experimental Aerodynamics, and we invited a guest speaker, Professor Vijay sir. So before starting the presentation of this webinar, first of all, I'm going to introduce a little bit about guest speaker. So the Professor Vijay sir done his undergraduation in aerospace engineering and post-graduation in space engineering and rocketry science from BIT Misra, Birla Institute of Technology. And currently he was working as an assistant professor in aerospace engineering from MIT ADT University, Pune, and dealing with theoretical and practical aerodynamics work, especially in rocket and space related engines, and having more than 6 years academic experiences and great industrial exposure, especially in space engineering and rocket science. So without wasting much time, I'm heartily invited Vijay sir to give the webinar. Yes, Vijay sir, you can start your presentation.
Thank you, Anup sir, for this wonderful introduction. I would like to thank Parul University and Department of Aeronautical Engineering to giving me this opportunity to express my views on this experimental aerodynamics. So let's begin this webinar and let me share my screen. I hope everyone doing well there. I'm sharing my screen, just wait. I hope my screen is visible. Anup sir, can you please confirm my screen is visible?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay, so dear students and all the aerospace aspirants, today's webinar topic is the experimental aerodynamics. And we know for the experimental aerodynamics, though, when we heard or when we hear experimental aerodynamics, the first instrument comes into our mind is wind tunnel, the big bulky instrument which we are dealing to test any model or any aerospace equipments. So today's topic I'm going to present is wind tunnel testing and its application in aerospace engineering. These are the outlines we are going to cover. Introduction, little bit of history, that's which all we are aware. The classification of wind tunnels, description of different parts, experimentation and instrumentation which are involved with wind tunnel testing and experimental aerodynamics. So what is wind tunnel and what is the use of wind tunnel? What is the need of wind tunnel? That's what first question comes into our mind when we think about experimental aerodynamics. Wind tunnel is nothing but a facility which provides a controllable flow field for investigation the various flow field phenomena and testing aerodynamics model. Now here there are two words which are catching our attention, that is testing aerodynamics model and investigation of flow phenomena. That is what involved in the aerodynamics. When we are talking about aerodynamics and wind tunnel testing, the experiments on the vehicle, whether it is your aircraft, your spacecraft, or your building, some industrial applications, automobiles, whenever air is interacting with any object, then aerodynamics comes into picture, and to test the flow phenomena and the forces affecting on the or forces involved with this is the wind tunnel is providing all these facilities. It is also a tool which is used in aerodynamic research to study the effect of air moving past solid body, and this is the effect which we are all know that it is nothing but the creation of lift and drag. And this is a picture which comes into our mind when we think about wind tunnel. The big bulky structure having the different components and different instrument attached with it to measure the quantity and quality of the flow. When we talk about quantity, then its pressure, the forces involved with the force, with the aerodynamics and the airflow. Quality means the types of the flow, the flow phenomena. That's what two terms involved with the wind tunnel. Why we need wind tunnel? Can't we use the air which is already available in our atmosphere to test the model? Can't we directly fly the model, or can't we directly put the model into atmosphere and we can investigate it? Because basically what you require to test any model, you require a model and you require airflow. Airflow is available in atmosphere, model is available with you. Then why we require this bulky structure? The answer is this animation, that to test a model in air is very risky and it's next to impossible. And what we are measuring here is force and pressure, that is quantity, and flow visualization testing, that is quality of the flow. So which is not possible to measure directly onto the full scale model flying in the air. So for that we require to create, or the solution of this is wind tunnel, which provides a similar environment to the scale down model as the real model. So here we are not required to produce a full scale model. We can produce a small scale down model, put it into wind tunnel. We can create a similar kind of environment which is your actual model is going to face, and we can estimate or we can measure the force and the quality of the flow, and we can explore this data to the actual model. Here experiments can be performed under well-controlled flow. That is what wind tunnel is. In the actual air or in the open air, the flow is not controlled. The flow velocity or the kind of flow is not in our hand. Here in wind tunnel, we can control the flow. Whatever the pressure, velocity, and the density we require, we can control it within the wind tunnel, and we can test the small scale model as well as full scale model for the requirement of the experiment. And this is the history of the flight. We all aware about it, that it was well ahead. I mean, it was beginning in the early 1800th century, but there was very few people could fly it, and at least in the 1900th century, the first flight could fly in the air. And before that, there are several well-known scientists who were involved in the research in the fluid dynamics and then aerodynamics to make this flight happen. When we think about aerodynamics and fluid mechanics or experimental aerodynamics, these are the few names which comes into our mind. The Benjamin Robbins, George Kelly, Frank Wayman, Reynolds, Hiram Maxim, and none other than Wright brothers. Who are these? Benjamin Robbins was the first to use the whirling arms to create the velocity, which was again created, or which was the first point to develop the wind tunnel. George Kelly, who was developed the mechanism to create lift via wings, and the Frank Wayman, who have invented the wind tunnel and started the field called experimental aerodynamics. You can see the picture of wind tunnel initially developed. Now, what is wind tunnel? We know. We also have seen the use of wind tunnel, what is the need of wind tunnel, and how it is developed from the big bulky equations of fluid mechanics to the small structure which provide you a controlled flow. Now, what is the classification of wind tunnel? There are different classification. If you see any academic institute or research institute, you will find different wind tunnel models. Some are small, some are big. So how you classify it? One way is based on research area, like in which field you are using wind tunnel, whether you are using in aerospace, in automobiles, in civil engineering, or in sports, because all this area have common point of interest is the interaction with air. Whether it is your sports, then your sports equipments are interacting with the air. your aerospace industry, your aircraft and other vehicles are interacting with the air, your mechanical or automobiles, then again the cars and bikes are involved with the air. So based on that, there are several classification. One is aeronautical wind tunnels, automobiles and building wind tunnels, aeroacoustic wind tunnels, which are dealing with the noise created due to the air and structural interaction. Another is based on the flow speed, where our academics are more interested in, like whether we have a low speed wind tunnel or high speed wind tunnel. So that is based on speed, and we know in aerodynamics we are measuring speed with the one unitless number, that is your Mach number. So there are four categories of wind tunnel based on flow speed. That is your subsonic wind tunnel, which is dealing with the flow less than 0.8 Mach number, which is not a hard and fast rule, we know. It is a thumb rule that the subsonic wind tunnel are operating below 0.8 Mach number. Again, subsonic wind tunnel have low speed and high speed wind tunnel. Low speed wind tunnel have Mach number very less. Transonic wind tunnel, which are dealing in between subsonic and supersonic, that is Mach number in between 0.8 and 1.2. Supersonic wind tunnels are dealing between 1.2 Mach number and 5 Mach number, and above 5 the wind tunnel are the hypersonic wind tunnels. And as far as our UG academics or UG syllabus is concerned, we are most probably dealing with the subsonic and supersonic wind tunnel for our UG and PG research. Though there are several high-speed wind tunnels like supersonic, hypersonic wind tunnels are involved in the space applications, where we are studying the re-entry of the vehicles or the hypersonic speed of the vehicles. One more classification is based on the air pressure, like what kind of pressure we are creating in the wind tunnel. We earlier have seen that wind tunnel is the instrument, or it is a facility which are creating air within the controlled environment. And when we are talking about controlled environment, there are few parameters we can control, that is pressure, velocity and the density. So based on pressure, there are two types of wind tunnel. One is the atmospheric wind tunnels, where we are dealing with the atmospheric pressure, and variable density wind tunnel, where we can control the density and the pressure as per the requirement. Another is one based on the size, whether it is your ordinary wind tunnels, where you put the scale down model, and another is the full scale model, when you can put actual model like your aircraft or cars, and you can test the effect of air on that actual model to study the flow phenomena and the aerodynamic forces involved with that. Another classification is based on the driving force and driving operation. As we know that we are creating the air and we are controlling the flow environment. So we require some driving force which are responsible for the flow field, which are generating some controlled airflow inside the wind tunnel. So for the driving force, there are several types of wind tunnel. One is open loop, then closed loop, blow down type, and soak tube. Soak tube are generally soak tube is used in the supersonic experiment and the high speed experiment. So these are the classification of the wind tunnels based on different applications and criteria, like based on the research area, based on flow speed, based on the air pressure, the size and the driving operations. And we will be seeing different wind tunnels, as we have seen that most common way to classify the wind tunnel is based on the flow field, that is the speed of the air inside the wind tunnel. And the first one is the subsonic wind tunnel, which is the creating flow field in the range of below Mach number 0.8. These are some wind tunnel facility which I have worked during my post-graduation at the BIT Mesra. You can see the test section of 400 by 400, which are equipped with digital and conventional force measurement equipment, and again we can study different flow phenomena using different flow visualization techniques. There are two wind tunnels available for the subsonic category. One is a low speed wind tunnel, another is a high subsonic wind tunnel. Low subsonic wind tunnel is also called a smoke tunnel, which are generally used for the flow visualization. And we can use different flow visualization techniques to study the quality of the flow, whereas the higher subsonic flow or higher subsonic wind tunnel we are using for the quantitative flow measurement to study the aerodynamic forces and pressure measurements. And this is a facility available at my university. This is again a subsonic wind tunnel of the test section 600 by 600, where the flow visualization and the force measurement can be studied, and the academic experiments can be carried out using these facilities. This wind tunnel, you see the subsonic wind tunnel, which comparatively easy to design and fabricate, because here the flow field is less than Mach number 0.8, and this type of wind tunnel is open wind tunnel, open loop wind tunnel, and the operating or the driving mechanism is the suction type of wind tunnel. Transonic wind tunnels are like not commonly used in the academics because it is very bulky and very difficult to design and fabricate. This is a one facility which is available in the Technion University, Israel, where some of my colleagues and some of my seniors as well as some professors have worked on the transonic flow facility. Similar transonic wind tunnel is available in India at NL. You can see the pictures of the transonic wind tunnel. The complexity involved here, because here you are controlling the Mach number in between 0.8 and 1.2, and that is very difficult to control, and that is why these transonic wind tunnels are not commonly used in academics. These are the example of transonic wind tunnels. Though the components involved are somewhat similar, but the controlling mechanism and the generation of the required controlled environment is bit different. As far as supersonic wind tunnel are concerned, these are some example of supersonic wind tunnel. You can see the supersonic wind tunnels with the test section of 400 by 500, which is at the Technion University, where you can see in the test section the one cylindrical body with a spike is placed, where you can create a Mach number of 1.5 to 3.6. So this is a Mach number range in the supersonic wind tunnel, and you can measure or you can test your aerodynamics model for the quantitative and qualitative measurement. Here in the Technion model, there is using the variable nozzle to control the Mach number and the flow field. And this is the example of the BIT Mesra supersonic wind tunnel model, where you can see the Mach number is similar 1.5 to 3.6, but the nozzle is fixed nozzle. So here is the Mach number is controlled by some pressures at the inlet to generate the requirement or required Mach number at the test section. And this is a test section size at the BIT Mesra, that 150 by 100 mm, that you can see the difference. And as your test section size is vary, the actual size of your wind tunnel and the power requirement will be vary. And hypersonic wind tunnel, again, it's very large in size and require very high power to generate the hypersonic speed, that is Mach number more than 5. This is a one facility available at Jet Propulsion Laboratory at NASA. You can see the size of this wind tunnel and the instrument attached with it. And this here you can see this is a test section where the quantitative analysis of the hypersonic flow over a body can be carried out. And in India, we have the hypersonic wind tunnel facility at the Vikram Sara Space Center, ISRO, which is a proud, like it is the third largest in the world. And you can see the size of this wind tunnel. And again, we have seen that there are another classification is based on the type, that is open loop and closed loop wind tunnel. Generally, we are using open loop wind tunnels in our academic institute and for our experimental works and research. This is due to the fact that open loop wind tunnel are easy to fabricate, easy to design, and easy to operate. Here is the sketch, that is schematic diagram of an open loop wind tunnel. This is a fan is attached at the outlet of the wind tunnel, so it is a suction type of wind tunnel. You have inlet from which your air is sucked inside the wind tunnel. You have contraction section and test section, then diffuser. This is a similar wind tunnel you will see anywhere in the aerodynamics or wind tunnel laboratory. Another one, this is an example of open loop wind tunnel. The open loop is due to the fact that your inlet and outlet are not connected, and whatever air is going out from the inlet which is not reusable, it is all sent to the atmosphere. That is why it is open loop wind tunnel. Advantage of open loop wind tunnel is it is easy to construct, comparatively low construction cost, no accumulation of the exhaust product because your inlet and exit are not connected, and it is simpler in design. But again, it have some disadvantages, like it have high operating cost because every time you run the wind tunnel or during the run, you require the new air to be sucked inside your wind tunnel, and to suck that new air at required velocity and pressure, you require some power, and that is power generated by the fan. So that is continuously you require to generate or that controlled flow. That is why they have higher operating cost. Plus, as your fan is running at high speed, it is a noisy operation. Plus, as inlet and exit both are open to the atmosphere, you cannot maintain the good quality of the air or airflow because the atmospheric turbulence and another factor will be affecting your inlet flow, which is again going to test section. So it will be giving you some comparatively poor quality of the flow in the test section, because here you cannot control the inlet flow. The whatever atmospheric air will be sucked inside. In the closed loop wind tunnels, this is a schematic diagram. You can see here the test section is connected to the exit and the inlet. Your exit and inlet both are connected. So whatever air is inside the wind tunnel, which will be circulating continuously. So once you have feed air inside the wind tunnel, you have one constant pressure on which your wind tunnel will be operating, and same air will be circulating every time. So you require less power to run the wind tunnel, and you can control the environment inside the wind tunnel because you are not continuously sucking the air from the atmosphere. Your inlet and outlet both are closed. This is a facility at IIT Kanpur. You can see the structure of closed loop wind tunnel. Advantage is that superior flow quality can be produced at the test section, which is the requirement to study the flow phenomena, whether it is your aerospace vehicles or automobiles. Low operating cost, quiet operation because you don't require high-speed fans to run. Again, the facility is closed, so it is not much noisy. Disadvantage, you can see the huge structure. So to create this structure, it will require more cost and it requires more instrument to design. So it is costly, or construction is more costly. Here you will be having chances of accumulation because you have the inlet and the outlet both are connected. So in the corner, there are chances that air will be stuck or air will be gathered in the corner. Here you can see this corner desk where the chances of accumulation are there, and it is not connected to the atmosphere, so the circulation and the friction with the wind tunnel wall will create the heat, and this will be hotter running condition compared to the open tunnels. So you require some cooling arrangement in the wind tunnel. This is what the classification of wind tunnel. What are the different kind of wind tunnels, their advantages, applications, and complexity involved in the design. Now, what are the elements which are involved in the wind tunnel? What are the components you require to design a wind tunnel, or what are the components you will see in the wind tunnel? These are the common components you will find in any wind tunnel. That is inlet and exit. In the inlet, you have settling chambers. As the name indicates, the settling chambers help the flow to settle down. As the atmosphere flow is not well controlled, we require some controlled streamlined flow inside the test section. So that can be achieved using the settling chambers, where you have honeycomb structures and the net or mesh. With the help of that, you are removing the turbulence of the flow and your flow will become streamlined. Then you have contraction cone, which help to increase the velocity as your area is decreasing. You can use here the fluid dynamics equation and the continuity equation, that A1 V1 is equal to A2 V2. So as your area is decreasing, your velocity will increase. So contraction cone will help further streamline the flow and increase the velocity. Test section is the section or the component inside the facility where you are actually putting the model to get the information about the forces and quality of the flow, where you are going to test the effect of the flow on the vehicle or on the model. Here in the test section, along with this model, you are inserting some sensors and some instrument which will giving you information about the forces and the quality of the flow. Then you have diffuser, which again the diverging in the nature. So as your area will increase, the pressure will increase, the velocity will decrease, and at the end your pressure will be such that it will be equivalent to the atmosphere pressure. So with the help of the diffuser, our objective is to remove the back pressure losses. And at the end, you have driving unit, because this is a suction kind of wind tunnel. So driving unit is placed at the outlet of the wind tunnel, which are nothing but fans which will be rotating at some RPM to generate the flow at some required velocity. And different as per the requirement, the driving unit can be different, but objective is same. With the help of the mechanical equipments, you are converting your mechanical energy from to the flow velocity. As we have seen, the settling chamber, combination of honeycomb and the net, the flow will be settled down and straightened down in the settling chamber. It is a big bulky structure you will find at the inlet, where the larger volume will be help you to capture more air into the inlet, and the honeycomb structure and the mesh will help you to settle down the flow. The honeycomb structure will be straightening the flow and the wire mesh will be smoothen the flow. Both are used together to reduce the swirling in the currents, and the flow will be more streamlined and smooth, which will be delivered to the test section via convergence section. Here, with the help of the settling chamber, which is the honeycomb and the wire mesh, the flow will be less in the turbulence. The better wind tunnel simulation can be happen as per the actual flight condition, because we are assuming the streamlined laminar flow for our testing. So with the help of this settling chamber, we are achieving that objective. Next section is the contraction cone. As I've just told you, that it is a conversion section which help you to increase the velocity by using the continuity equation A1 V1 is equal to A2 V2. As we know, the larger the volume, the flow velocity will be less. Smaller volume, the high flow velocity. Here you can see it is not directly converging. There is some curvature is given so that the losses due to this change in area can be reduced. Then the test section is a place where you are putting or you are putting your models on which you are measuring the forces and the quality of the flow. There may be your rectangular arrangement, or it may be your conical arrangement depending on the type of the wind tunnel and the requirement. Generally in the subsonic wind tunnel, we are dealing with the rectangular type of cross section. Diffuser, where your flow will be slow down and the pressure will be slowly increased to the atmospheric pressure. Then your driving unit, which are the fans, which are rotating at some RPM to create the flow field inside the wind tunnel. Now, this is what about wind tunnel, the construction, the types, and the different unit of the wind tunnel. Now, what are the tests we can conduct on the wind tunnel? What are the experiments we can conduct on the wind tunnel? That is what your experimental aerodynamics or wind tunnel testing is. There are generally two types of experiments we can conduct on the wind tunnel. That is qualitative research and quantitative research. As we are keep on using these words, that qualitative research which dealing with the flow phenomena, and quantitative research dealing with the forces and pressure due to the air on the object or on the body. So qualitative research involved the flow visualization test, which are top flow visualization, the smoke flow visualization, oil flow. These are the low speed testing. The top flow, smoke flow, you can use lasers to study the flow phenomena, whether it is your turbulent flow, there is some vortices or not. In the supersonic or high speed wind tunnel, we are dealing with Slarian flow visualization and shadowgraph flow visualization, where we can use some optical and lights to visualize the shock waves and the change in flow properties. One more commonly used technique is the oil flow visualization, which can be used in both low speed as well as high speed flow. So these are the common techniques which are used for the qualitative research. Top flow and smoke flow, which are can be easily used in the subsonic or low speed, which give you the flow phenomena over the body. Slarian and shadowgraph techniques, which are commonly used to capture the shock waves in the high speed wind flow. Oil flow can be used in the both. In the quantitative research, we want to measure the force, pressure, and the moment of the moment due to force, whether it's your longitudinal or lateral moment, for which, or you can also measure the turbulence of the flow by using the particle image velocimeter or particle tracking velocimeter. These are the two types of experimentals we are generally conducting in the wind tunnel, whether it is your low speed or high speed. In the flow visualization, the most commonly or can easily used technique is the top flow visualization, where The flow around the test model can be captured using small pieces of tuff or the woolen threads can be attached to the test model as the flow or air will be flowing around the model. The woolen tuff will be fluctuating due to the nature of the flow, and we can visualize the flow phenomena over the model. We can easily capture or visualize the vortices or and the phenomena like it is the laminar or turbulent, whether your fluid attached or separated. Here it is a video which I would like to play, which give you a clear idea how the tuff are attached. So you could clearly see in the video how the woolen tops were attached to a moving car, and you have seen what is a flow phenomena, how your woolen tops are fluctuating as per the velocity kind or as per the flow nature. If your flow is attached, the woolen top will be attached to the model. When there will be turbulence, it will be, you could see the fluctuation. Similar woolen top can be attached to your cylinder body or airfoils to study the quality of the flow. Another commonly used technique is the smoke flow, where we are generating the smoke and that smoke will be supplied to the wind tunnel and the smoke will be flowing over the test model and we can visualize the flow over the body. And this is a common example. We can see a flow over cylinder. We can see clearly the streamlines and the vortices around the cylinder. So here you could see as velocity was low, you could see the very smooth flow of the air, which are the streamlines passing one over the other. As your and here also you could see the stagnation point, separation point over the cylinder, and at the back you could see the vortices. As the velocity was increased, you could see the fluctuation in the streamline due to the turbulent, and you could also see the shift in your flow separation point, as well as you could see the creation of wake vortices. Similarly, the oil flow, which can be, you can use some kind of mixture of oil which can be painted over the model, and as your flow will be passed over the model, the air or the oil will be moving along with the air and it will give you some pattern or it will leave some pattern over the model, so which can be later on see. This is an example of oil flow where the titanium dioxide and oleic acid are mixed and the mixture is painted over a model, and that model will be put inside the wind tunnel and we can capture the flow phenomena. This is how the wind tunnel is painted with the mixture. The model is rectangle. You could see the how the oil can leave the signature or flow can leave the signature as it pass through the oil, and we can clearly visualize the effect of the air. This is what all about the subsonic or the low speed wind tunnel, or to capture the flow phenomena over the low speed wind tunnel. But when we discuss about the high speed wind tunnel, then there is the phenomena of shock wave will comes into picture, and we cannot capture the shock wave with the naked eyes. We require to use some specialized techniques like Slarian and shadowgraph techniques to visualize this flow along with some high speed camera to capture the flow. This is a setup for Slarian or shadowgraph flow visualization. This is a typical high speed wind tunnel where you have a compressor which is providing the compressed air, which will be stored into the high pressure balloon, which will be a storage for the high pressure air, which will be connected to some valves and the connected with the valve. So as you open the valve, the high speed wind, high pressure air will be supplied to the stagnation chamber, where it is the inlet of your supersonic or high speed wind tunnel, where your flow will be settled down before it will enter to the test section. So this is the point where you'll be getting the stagnation pressure or stagnation inlet pressure before it enters to the convergent divergent nozzle. And this is the convergent divergent nozzle which will be deliver the required Mach number at the test section. So this test section is placed at the exit of your convergent divergent nozzle, and at the exit of convergent divergent nozzle you have some exit velocity and exit Mach number. So here you can set the inlet stagnation pressure P0 with the help of the compressor and your storage tank, and this will be further delivered to the convergent divergent nozzle. Either it is your fixed nozzle or variable area nozzle. Based on that, you can create a typical high speed flow at the test section where you have put your model to capture the flow phenomena, typically the shock waves, and then you have the exit. In between, you are placing a instrument to capture this flow phenomena. This is the combination of some mirrors and the light. You can see here the number 10 is a light source which is supplying some light to the slit, and slit will be the size of the height of the slit can be adjusted as per the requirement, and to deliver the light source to the reflecting mirror, and this reflecting mirror will be supplying the light to the parabolic mirror which will deliver the light to the test section. At the both end of the test section you have parabolic mirrors which will be capturing the lights which are coming from the light source. Now as your light is passing through the test section, due to the shock waves present in the test section, there will be change in density and the flow phenomena which will be affecting your light, and some light will be deflected, and that phenomena will be captured in the parabolic mirror. Again it will be reflected to the reflecting mirror, and at the end the 16 number component, which can be your eyes or it can be a high speed camera, where you can visualize the property of the nature of the flow. You can visualize the shock waves around the body. Again this can be connected to the computer or your data acquisition system to store the video or to store the result which is captured through the Slarian or shadowgraph techniques. Both techniques are dealing with the light source and the change in the property of the light due to as it is passing through the airflow, and in the shock waves or in the high speed flow there is change in density because it is a compressible flow, and with using that change in density and the property of light we can easily visualize the phenomena. This is an example of shadowgraph techniques and the Slarian techniques. Here you can see a body which is attached with a spike, with arrow spike and a cubical spike. You can see the line, dark line present over the body, which give you the flow phenomena, the presence of the shock wave over the body. In the shadowgraph techniques, what are the advantages? Flow around the test model is captured using density variation. As we know, along the shock waves, the density and other properties of the flow will be changing, and that will be deflect or reflecting with help of light, and your property of light wave will be changed as per the density change, and that will be captured with the help of light wave. And here in the shadowgraph techniques, all features of the flow, like it is a presence of shock, some turbulence, can be easily captured to in the eyepiece or camera. You can see here, it is also, you can see easily the shock waves, the dark line. In between the shock waves, you can see some dots or some turbulence here. In the Slarian techniques, it is similar to shadowgraph, but you're putting a knife edge in between your instrument. That knife edge will be removing some part of your light, and that will converting your image into some shades of black and white, and it will give you only some portion of the flow properties. Not all the phenomena can be captured here. You can see here only the shock waves is captured. In between shock waves, if there is some turbulence, it is not captured in the Slarian techniques. This is what all about the qualitative measurement, how to capture the flow phenomena. Along with qualitative measurement, we require to measure the forces or quantity of the force, quantity of the flow. That is how, where your lift, drag and moment comes into picture. And to measure this, we can use either pressure measurement, or from pressure you can measure the lift and drag, or we can use some electromechanical equipments like strain gauge balance to measure the forces which are acting on the body, and from the forces which are acting normal to the body and axial to the body, we can find out the lift, drag and moment on the body. Here you can see the strain gauge balance which is inserted into test section. Over the balance you have inserted the body, and then you run your wind tunnel at some predefined velocity. Then due to the velocity, there will be some forces acting on the body that will be transferred to the strain gauge, and that change in forces will be measured, and it can be rather supplied to your data aggregation system, and you can convert that forces into lift, drag and moment. Another is force measurement. This is what example. Here you can see in the test facility, a propeller is put inside the test section over a force measurement equipment or strain gauge balance. So here you measure the forces due to this mount before you start the wind tunnel, and you calibrate your instrument. After that, you run the wind tunnel, you see the change in forces, and we can measure the thrust produced by the propeller at different RPM, at different velocity. Even you can measure the drag at different velocity, or at windmill condition. Means when your propeller is not running but your wind tunnel is running, that is the windmilling condition, just similar to the windmills which are used for energy generation, where as your velocity is increasing, you can see in the graph how your drag is dealing. Initially up to 10 meter per second, you can see for the low pitch propeller the drag is almost constant. After that it is decreasing, but in high pitch propeller it is reverse. Again, for the thrust measurement, as your RPM is increasing, your thrust is increasing, which is measured typically in the wind tunnel. Again, the thrust versus velocity, that is velocity of the wind tunnel. So this is the application, or you can use different kind of another application, like you put your aircraft model, you can put your wing, you can put combination of propeller and wing to check the effect of propeller on the lift and drag in the moment, etc. Then comes the pressure measurement, where we use the manometer tubes or some pressure sensors to measure the pressures on the body, on the surface of the body. Here you can see the pressure ports which are created on the body, in which you are inserting the tubes which are connected to either manometer or the digital manometer to measure the pressure. This is a typical example of unsteady pressure model, where you can see the pressure port where you are inserting the pressure transducer to see the change in pressure. And again, you can use the manometer tubes to measure the pressure, or you can connect these tubes to your data acquisition system, which are directly storing your data into the PC. And then through your system, you can take the data, you can analyze and post-process the data to find out the results. This is how your experimental aerodynamics works. Apart from this, we can measure the turbulence of the flow using different equipments. But due to the availability of time, I couldn't put this data into my slides. That's it from my side. I'm open to any queries, and thank you once again for actively listening to my presentation. Thank you so much. I'm open to any queries or question now.
Okay, sir. Thank you for this. The question, we got the question from students. Question is, how do you compare the CFD analysis result with wind tunnel data?
Yeah, CFD analysis is what we like. It is your computational analysis or your computational result you are getting by using some commercial softwares like ANSYS, or by using some codes, or by solving some equations, which are like where you have put some assumption, where in the wind tunnel there is no assumption applied. You are getting the result, what are the real result for the body. So to compare your CFD analysis data to the wind tunnel, what we first require to see is what is your inlet condition, what are the boundary condition we apply to the CFD analysis, which are, if which their condition are similar to your wind tunnel testing, then you can compare this data, and we can find out what are the errors in the analysis, what are the deflection you'll find in the wind tunnel data to the CFD data. Of course, both not will be exactly similar, because in the CFD you have applied different assumption to solve the Navier-Stokes equations, whether it is your you applied steady flow condition, or you applied some another conditions which you had not applied in the wind tunnel testing. So based on the boundary condition and the inlet condition and outlet condition, you can compare the data, and you will find what is the errors or what is the difference between your wind tunnel and CFD data.
Okay. Okay. Now next question is about could wind tunnel provide the accurate result to wind load distribution over the aircraft?
Sorry, sir, can you come again?
The question is that could wind tunnel provide accurate results to wind load distribution over the aircraft?
See, wind load again is a flow and or structural interaction. To study the wind load, we required some wind loading same wind loading condition into the wind tunnel. Again, you depend whether you are studying full scale model or the scale down model. If your model is scaled down, then again you require to extend that data to the full scale model, and then you need to compare it. It won't give you the accurate wing loading condition, but yes, for some extent you will be getting the wing loading over the aircraft for the scale down model.
Okay, sir. The next question is about what is your opinion about the virtual wind tunnel?
Sir, virtual wind tunnel is what we call it CFD analysis. If you take the CFD analysis and then you can somehow connect it to virtual reality. Then it can be your virtual wind tunnel, where the difference between your actual wind tunnel and virtual wind tunnel will be that in virtual wind tunnel you have the controlled flow and the controlled equation solving, whereas in your actual flow the control is not what you got in that. So data variation will be that it's similar to your CFD, but yeah, virtual wind tunnel is quite easy to use, and it's like not much expensive. Once you have the equipments, you can get the feel of wind tunnels, and you get the high quality research over there. So yeah, I can see it's a future of the wind tunnel testing.
Okay, sir. Now there is no any question. So thank you for this session, wonderful session, and thank you for giving your valuable time on behalf of Aeronautical Department and also behalf of Parul University. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Anup sir, and thank you, Parul University, for this wonderful opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. So, shall we end this meeting?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sir.